Welcome to Getting Down with Purpose podcast, where we go beyond the grind and dive deep into what truly drives success, purpose. I'm Craig Sweeney, your host, and each week we will sit down with entrepreneurs, leaders, and game changers who are building businesses with meaning and making an impact beyond the bottom line. And now, let's get down with purpose. Welcome to Getting Down with Purpose podcast. My name is Craig Sweeney, and welcome again to Season 2 as we're wrapping up our fall season. I'm here with guest Mark and John Cronin up in New York, and with that, we'll get started with a brief prayer. Lord God, thank you so much for your many gifts. Thank you for blessing us with the gifts of Mark and John, sharing their stories to so many families out there, those with Down syndrome, those with differing abilities. And we're just blessed to be able to share their experiences, the wonderful work that they are doing, and the wonderful work that they will continue to do to inspire many more to connect with our community and connect with others to make our world the most inclusive and beautiful place to spread joy and happiness. And we just praise you for your many gifts as we continue to glorify your name. Amen. Well, Mark and John, so great to see you guys. Boy, it feels just like yesterday that we were down in Mobile, Alabama. You guys were going to speak to an organization there, and it's just exciting to see you guys travel all over and talk about Abilities Rising, talk about John Crazy Socks, talk about our wonderful community, and really it's been a passion and purpose of mine on Getting Down with Purpose is talking to companies who sponsor organizations like Miracle League, who in this studio that we're in, this is Studio 7, which is inside the Reminding Coffee Shop. And just this week, they had their first couple of employees that started through one of the local schools here. Somebody with Down syndrome, somebody with autism, and that was the beginning of Season 1 podcast where we teased the idea and we said, let's make it happen. And here we are several months after that, and they've just hired their first few employees, which is just, it's so beautiful. And so
that's wonderful.
It is. I'm so, and I know that's a big part. I want to thank Mark and John, you guys, for making introductions to the National Down Syndrome Society to help with their ambassador program, which I know you guys have been involved in a while, and also the CEO Commission, which is really heavy on encouraging and helping employers make the connection, right, to hire not just children like my 10-year-old Reed. Well, he's not going to work just yet, but that's why we're working on this to when he has that opportunity, more and more companies can open their doors and see the gifts that come from that. And so this season, Mark, we've had Rick Hayduck, who is started the Shepherd Hotel, and now they have 2 more hotels that are going to be open in the Carolinas. He's got his daughter with Down syndrome, and then he adopted a son with Down syndrome, and so Rick, is doing some amazing things. And I've had 2 other parents. As a matter of fact, today, Dr. Eric Soini, who has a daughter around Reed's age, I think she's 9 or 10, and we talked about their birth story to, things that, kind of go back with John, right, of when y'all found out, when in his early elementary years, and I love having y'all on because now John is 20. What's the most recent birthday we've had?
How old are you?
I'm 29.
29. Wow.
So how do you normally introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm 29. I'm 6 and I am years old.
29 single and eligible.
There you go. Man, that's awesome. So, fast forward, read 19 years from now. Like I can't quite comprehend that, but that's what I've been trying to do is I had another a set of parents who have a 3-year-old, right? And it's been really beautiful to help parents who maybe are just finding out, right? Wow, we've been blessed with a child who is going to be born with Down syndrome, or we've just been blessed because we just had a child and we didn't know. And you go through all of these stages of they're in elementary school, then junior high, then high school, and then maybe, the Clemson Life program or a collegiate program. And then now what? And that's what I kind of wanted to ask you guys of, y'all started John's Crazy Socks. So, was Rock Your Socks first or John Crazy Socks first?
Well, it was John's Crazy Socks first. Origin stories matter. So we could kind of share with you how it came about. And it came about through a necessity. So go back to the fall of 2016. And where were you, buddy?
I was at a Hudson High School. I could be my last high school.
Yeah, and Craig, you were talking about your son. That time goes fast.
Yes.
So there's John in his last year of school, and like everybody else, trying to figure out what comes next.
Right.
What were you looking at?
I look at job, program, and school. I can't find crayons that I don't like.
He couldn't find anything he liked. And this is an unfortunate reality. Only 1 in 5 people with a disability are employed in this country. There just aren't enough opportunities.
No.
But John here,
Yes.
you're a natural entrepreneur.
Yes, I am.
You didn't see a job you wanted. What'd you say?
I said, I want to create one. I want to make one. I told my dad I will go bank with him. A nice father-son business together.
A nice father-son business together. Imagine
Yes.
that.
I love it.
I'm a lucky man. I got 3
yes, you are,
sons,
Dad.
and this is one I can work with.
I am.
And we went through a couple of things before settling on selling socks.
Yep.
And why socks?
White socks is fun, it's creative, and it's that crazy. I want crazy socks my whole life.
So we figured if John loved those socks that much, surely other people would too. And we could find those people.
Yes.
But, you asked what came first. So we're selling these socks, and we opened in December of 2016 to test the idea. It tested well, so we said, let's keep going. And in January of 2017, we learned nobody buys anything in January because they spent all their money at the holidays. And we're trying to figure out what else could we, how could we get some sales? That's when we discovered that people wear crazy socks
Right.
to celebrate World Down Syndrome Day. You would have thought we knew that ahead of time, but we're not that smart.
I tried to wear my craziest shirt today. So this was, the best I could do. Is this crazy enough, John?
I guess so.
I guess so,
What
yes.
are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's we tend to wear our logo shirts all the time. It's kind of like Steve Jobs, just wear the same thing every day. You don't have to think about it.
I love it. Absolutely. Well, that, as a business coach, I love hearing entrepreneurial stories, right? Like how was this thing birthed? And look, my wife says that I'm unemployable because I've always worked for myself, right? And so I love that, going out and hanging your own shingle, and of course you guys, as you shared in Alabama, you guys had a couple of moments, right, where you were picked up, either on TV or, you had some opportunities that kind of
We've been very fortunate.
Yeah.
With some viral events and a lot of positive media coverage.
Yes.
Yeah. So, when did I don't think we talked about this in Mobile, but would you mind sharing your birth story? Like, when did y'all find out?
Well, so John is the youngest of three. We did not know that John was going to be born with Down syndrome.
Same.
So he was born in the middle of the night, emergency C-section. And right after his birth, I got to hold my boy in my arms and lean over him. And they said, "You have a healthy baby boy." And then a short time later, they took him to clean him up. And my wife and I are in a waiting room. She's waiting to go to a room. And the covering OB came in and put her head down and said, "I'm so sorry. I have bad news for you. It appears that your son may have a slight case of Down syndrome." That's how we found out. That was awful. I mean, we talk a lot of, we listen to a lot of parents and talk to parents. Every parent wants to hear one word: congratulations.
Right.
And never tell me that there's bad news about my son. And there was a lot of negativity. When your child is born, everything is possible. So even though I'm a New York Met fan, when our sons were born, boy, they could grow up to play center field for the New York Yankees. Now, if I stopped and thought about it, kids with my genes are not going to wind up playing center field for the New York Yankees. It turns out we breed offensive linemen. But it's all possible. And one of the things that happened that day, family came in, close family, and a close family member, meaning well, said, "Well, maybe, things can happen. Nowadays, these guys get to do some things. And maybe someday he could push a broom at Burger King." And I got up and I went out in the hallway and just broke down into tears. Because, that's what we were being told, is look at all the limitations.
Yep.
We had another doctor, John, like a lot of people with Down syndrome, was born with some significant medical defects or challenges. We had another doctor kind of matter-of-factly say, if you want, they try to save a lot of these babies now. But this is one of the lessons we share with people. Think about that negativity. And the medical challenges, John, on day 3 of his life, needed intestinal surgery. We didn't know if he could survive the operation, couldn't live without it. We brought a Catholic priest into the NICU to baptize him. He did survive. But John, like about 50% of people born with Down syndrome, had a significant heart defect. He had 2 holes in his heart. His little heart couldn't keep up. To give you an idea, he weighed 6 pounds, 6 ounces at birth. 3 months later, he weighed 6 pounds, 5 ounces.
Wow.
He couldn't grow. He needed open heart surgery. And again, we didn't know if he could survive the operation, but he couldn't live without it. He did.
He's a fighter.
The surgery went well. And as John grew, John couldn't talk. He learned sign language to communicate. And so, the question you ask is, what chance did that baby have in our world? What could become of that child? And here's the answer. He could grow up to change the world.
Amen.
My partner here, not only did you start John's Crazy Socks, right? Your idea?
Yes, it's my idea.
But You've spoken at the United Nations, testified before Congress, and we need to add nowadays he was not subpoenaed. You know, been named EY Entrepreneur of the Year. And the young man who couldn't talk is now a public speaker, traveling the country.
I'm speaking now.
You're speaking now, huh? And that's part of what we always want to share, Greg, is look at the possibilities.
Oh,
Look at what each of us can do. Look at the power in us. And look at the possibilities in everybody we meet. If we're willing to listen, everybody has a story and everybody has a strength. We just need to see it.
We'd like to thank Magnolia Wealth Strategies. Magnolia Wealth Strategies is a holistic personal and business financial guidance firm offering a full range of financial solutions serving the needs of individuals, families, and businesses. Magnolia's main purpose is to help people secure their future and protect the ones they love. They also strive to serve the communities where we live and work. Magnolia helps you grow your way.
no, yeah. Hey, John,
Yes,
is that your best friend?
she is. She is. My dad is my best friend to me. He is so inspiring me every day.
Well, it's mutual. John has always shown me the path. You know, one of the things that you hear sometimes as a parent, and we've listened to others say they've heard this, as a parent with a child with a disability is, well, God only gives a burden to those he knows can handle it.
Mm.
Well, this is a very odd view of the cosmos. It somehow pictures God floating in the sky and looking down and saying, oh, life seems to be going well for these folks. Let's see if they can handle this. and again, you know, never, ever refer to my son as a burden. And the reality is, John has made us better people. John has made me a better man, made his brothers better men, made my wife a better woman. And we're grateful for that.
You know, they haven't released yet, but I'd like to share just a couple of comments from two of the other episodes. One, Christian and Kristen Boback, when they found out, they spoke to another parent and they said, oh, wow, you've hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
Right. And it's so true, you know, because Reed has, like John, Reed has blessed us as parents. Yeah. Reed has blessed his other three brothers, for sure. And Rick Hayduck said, you know, he said, I think God was like, you know what, you guys have messed up. Here are some gifts to show you how you need to be in this world. You know, and I think that is truly one of the blessings, you know, certainly like here at the Reminding, and we hear it at other places, you know, that hire amazing employees who the community learns, right? They learn sometimes patience, right? They learn how to treat other people. And so that's what we're wanting to amplify, right? That's what we're wanting to share with many others, that they have some amazing gifts, even at a 20% or an 80% unemployment rate, right? That businesses sometimes, I think, Mark, they don't know what to do. So they're looking for someone to give them some guidance and say, okay, we want to give a John a possibility. We want to give a Reed a possibility, but help us. And so that's what we're trying to do is give them the tools so that you know, they can hire somebody as well. So which at John's Crazy Socks, you guys, how many employees?
Well, we've created 34 jobs. 22 of those are held by people with different abilities.
Yep.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And understand that's not charity. We don't lower our standards. we hire the best people for the positions we have. If you've gotten to know us a little bit, Craig, John here, you're a very nice guy.
I'm a very nice guy.
I am not. If we're gonna hire you, you got to produce. You got to
Sure.
work. And we're in our 9th year. We've hired from 3 different labor pools. Right, we do our own fulfillment, which means we run a pick and pack warehouse. It's a boom industry. Orders come in, you pick them, you pack them, you send them out. And what do we call our pickers?
Sock wranglers.
Sock wranglers. So over the 9 years, we've pulled from 3 different labor pools to fill those jobs. Just day laborers, people that want a starting salary of $17.50 an hour and get treated well and have staff lunch Friday.
Yep. I love lunch.
And you love lunch. Right? And then there's moms. We have some dads in there. But we schedule people in 4-hour shifts. So you can put your kid on the bus in the morning, come to work, and then be home to pick your kid up in the afternoon. And the 3rd labor pool are people with different abilities. Well, by far, the best labor pool are the people with different abilities. They're enthusiastic. They want to be here. They never miss work. They show up. They pay attention. They care about what they do. They work hard. They're the ones that make the difference. And to just give you some metrics, you're a business coach, the numbers matter. We promise same-day shipping, and we hit that promise all the time. An order comes in by 1 o'clock today, it is going out today. And our error rate on our shipping is 0.2 of 1%.
That's phenomenal.
We do better shipping than Amazon. And that's because of the people we have.
Yeah.
And we do a little more, right? What do you put in every package?
Every package, we put in a sticky note I wrote and candy.
A thank you note from John and candy. And on the packing slip, you see the picture and the name of the person who packed your order. And Jeff Bezos is not putting a thank you note and candy in those Amazon packages.
Dad, I do.
You do, right, buddy?
Yes, Dad.
Note to Jeff Bezos. No, that's fantastic. What from a parent standpoint, maybe somebody in their teens and wants to start thinking, is there an opportunity? Is there anything that parents can do right now that you would recommend, to your former self back when John, before he came up with the idea that he wanted to start his own company? But if you say, hey, I want to look at some job opportunities, what would you recommend?
There's a lot we can share. First, I can tell you that I'm coming out with 2 books on this very subject matter.
Oh, fantastic.
Finding a job you love, a guide for people with different abilities in their families, and a companion book, Using AI to Find a Job You Love, a guide for people with different abilities and their families. We'll start in school, right? Our experience is everything we did, and we did this with all 3 of our sons. We wanted to promote their independence. We wanted them to be able to stand on their own 2 feet. And that's challenging because it means you have to let them make a mistake. You got to let them fail. Or sometimes it's John learning to tie his shoes, and it takes time, and he's slow at tying a shoe. And you want to say, no, let me tie it. I'll do it fast so we'll get out of here. But you have to let him learn to do that. We did find that we worked closely with his teachers. We viewed them, a lot of times we hear of parents winding up in an adversarial position with the school. We viewed that we were all on the same team, and we worked together. So all that was important. As you begin to prepare to look for a job, I think you got to start by doing an inventory of your skills.
Mm.
And there's both hard skills, do I know how to program a computer? Do I have graphic art skills? And it's soft skills. Um, am I organized? Am I able to follow direction? Do I know how to show up at work? And those soft skills matter as much as the hard skills.
Mm.
So it's good to take an inventory of that.
Yes.
And you probably need someone to help you because it's hard to see ourselves. You may be thinking, oh, I've never had a job, but you do volunteer work at your church. Well, and you're learning things doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is okay, what is it I think I want to do? And that can be challenging because you don't get exposure to a lot of things. My mom always wanted me to be a lawyer because she watched Perry Mason on TV. Well, that has nothing to do with being a lawyer. And except for the Jeffersons, you don't see many TV shows about people running dry cleaning businesses, and then you got to go out and try to find places that are willing to hire people with different abilities.
Yeah.
They're out there. And there are some big places, Home Depot, Walgreens, but there are small businesses that do that. And part of the job hunt that we always think of and we advise people is tell everybody you know that you're looking for work.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them what type of work you're looking for. Because you never know. You never know who they know. You never know what, a lot of times you don't even know what they do. And somebody will turn around to you and say, ooh, I'm looking for somebody.
Yeah, that's great.
It's hard.
That's great advice. You just plant as many seeds out there, right? Yeah,
Right.
and there's a restaurant here who they've had somebody working with them for a few years now, and hands down, they're like, she is the best employee. And the other part is this is generally a position that a college student will come in, work for a little while, and then they move on to something else. And that's the thing that you'll see is that they can be in this position and they absolutely love it for years and years, right? And when you're talking about business that has to deal with turnover and, that's where there's a lot of value.
Well, there's a whole nother conversation with businesses as to why this is good. That it improves morale, it improves productivity. It's great for retention. It helps you recruit new people. But if you're looking for work, like when your son, when it starts getting time, get in his mind that he should always be looking for the types of places where he would like to work. Every store, every restaurant, every business that he goes into, to look around. Is this a type of work I'd like to do? Is this a type of place I'd like to work? And then you got to put together the package, right? You got to put together a resume and a cover letter and start looking for work on job boards or, there are now more and more job boards aimed for people with disabilities. And you're going to need support. It's very hard looking for work. You're going to get turned down. Even worse than that, you're going to put applications in and never hear anything back. And so you need people to kind of pick you up and encourage you.
Yeah, I think Down syndrome innovations in Kansas City. I think we've discussed, and one of the best advice that they gave to the Reminding Coffee Shop here is don't think of a general job description of where is this person going to be a fit into that role, but what are the gifts of the individual in forming the position kind of around their skills and background. And so I think that's what's been very helpful. And I think to any of the employers out there that are thinking, oh, well, I want to, in my heart, I want to do this, but how? And that's where, generally you have a job description, you have a person, is it a fit, and to kind of open up and go, okay, what are John's gifts,
Well, that's a whole discussion on the employer side of, when do you start looking? We don't start looking when we have an opening. We've, started way ahead of time. We share a lot on our social media, what it's like to work here. We're active in the community. We give tours, and John gave a tour already this morning.
Yeah.
You've given a tour to more than 4,000 people.
Oh, wow.
We host workshops from schools and social service agencies. So a lot of people know us, and they know what it's like to work here. And a lot of people have been in here. We've been able to spot people in those work groups of, that would make a good employee. So that when we have an opening, we don't use Indeed or ZipRecruiter. We just share it in our community. And we have a surplus of candidates.
Yeah.
But if you're that candidate and you get called in, well, now you got to prep. You got to prep for that interview. Do as many practice interviews as you can. Anticipate the questions that people might ask. That's one of the ways you can use AI is go into ChatGPT and say, I have this job interview coming up, and here's the job, and here's what they know about me. What questions might I expect to hear? So you can practice and prepare. And then make sure you take care of all the logistics. Where is the job interview taking place? How am I going to get there? What time do I have to leave the house? What should I be wearing? And what can I learn about this business? What research can I do? And you got the internet, you got AI tools. Show up for the interview.
Well,
After the interview, one of the things we recommend to people is do something very old-fashioned. Send a handwritten thank you note to the interviewer.
yes.
You will stand out.
100%.
That will, they're going to think about, look at this person. Look what they, look how interested they are. And again, you need support because you have no idea what's going into that hiring decision. You're in there for that interview, and it could be even before you walked in the room, they already decided to give the job to the owner's cousin or the nephew of the supervisor. You don't know. And it's not a reflection on you, but you need that encouragement. But if you follow those things, you're going to get a job. You're going to get a job, not just any job, but a job you like, a job you want.
Well, you have to prep that you're probably going to have no's, right? And just be prepared for that and know that persistency, that you'll get there.
And not every job is the right job.
Correct.
One of the things we tell people all the time, I've been telling people for decades now, when you go for that job interview, that goes two ways. They're interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them to say, is this the type of place I want to work? I use an example with my eldest. So he graduated from college and he went out to Ohio, worked on the Obama campaign. And it turns out that ended in November. So he comes back home. I say, what do you want to do? He says, I'd like to work for a member of Congress. I say, okay, well, you ought to go to D.C. And he had a little bit of money. We gave him a little bit of money. He went down there. He was basically couch surfing and trying to find a job.
Yeah.
And it was hard. And at one point, he got offered a job. And he turned it down. And he desperately needed work. And I was really impressed that he turned it down because he realized that was not the right job for him. And, that can be tough. You got to find something that works for you. And it's out there. It's out there.
So shifting gears a little bit around public speaking, you guys, as we've talked about earlier in the show, if companies, organizations, you speak to who are the different, companies and organizations you guys talk to, how they can get a hold of you, either through your website or social media channels and whatnot, and how they can have you guys come to either, whether it's virtually or in person. Speak to that a little bit.
Well, the public speaking is part of our mission, right? What's our mission?
Spread happiness.
Spreading happiness. We want to share joy and show what people with different abilities can do. So we speak to a lot of different types of audiences. There are parents and support workers, and for them we're offering hope and encouragement. There are businesses that are looking for inspiration and wanting to learn more about the value of hiring people with different abilities. We speak at colleges and universities. So, let's see. In the last 2 months, we saw you down in Mobile. We spoke with a volunteer organization in Mobile. We then went to Boise and spoke at a conference. We gave the keynote at a conference there for social service agencies. We spoke in Indianapolis at the state conference for human resource managers. We've been to Baltimore and spoken at the Kennedy Krieger Institute.
Yep.
We gave a virtual keynote to the Parent to Parent USA. We're speaking at an entrepreneurial program in Rhode Island virtually next Tuesday. A week ago, we spoke at Long Island University. We spoke at a dinner for Hope Story, which is a Down syndrome organization. And next week we're in Jersey with Morgan Stanley, speaking at an event for them. And then we're going to Denver with Celebrate EDU. And then we have a virtual talk with Valley National Bank. So you can kind of get a flavor of the range of things. Many of them are keynote speeches, but we also do breakout sessions on how to find a job or how to employ people, depending on the audience. To get a hold of us, we do have a speaker website,
JohnandMark.com.
JohnandMarkCronin.com, right? You can find out more about there and the coaching we offer.
We'll put some of those in the notes too.
You can also find us at johnscrazysocks.com. You can reach us there. And you're on every platform, right? John's Crazy Socks.
Yeah, Dad. And check out to my online dance party. I did every Tuesday, 3 p.m. at the time. Everybody can welcome to dance. Down on the Zoom. Check out my website.
What better way to spread happiness than hosting an online dance party, right?
I link on the down below.
You love dancing, John?
I love dancing, Craig.
But here's another thing. I mean, you made some reference to it. We're kind of building on John's Crazy Socks. We're created an entity called Abilities Rising with the mission to spread joy and show what people with different abilities can do. There are 3 different parts to it. There's e-commerce at John's Crazy Socks, of showing items, but also creating jobs. There's giving a voice to people. So we have created Abilities Rising Publishing, which is the only publishing company in the United States focused on publishing books by, for, and about people with different abilities. We got a few, it ranges everything from fun and puzzle books to memoirs to how-to books. So the first couple books are things that we've created. John has a series of word search puzzle books. We're getting our site up, but you can see those at Amazon right now. And you have your what's your next book?
Next book, a giant book of jokes.
Giant book of jokes.
Yeah, I really
1,000 jokes from John.
Yes.
and I have the two books on how to find a job. All these will be out before Christmas. And you're working on a picture book about Down syndrome.
Yep.
And we'll start taking submissions from other authors in January. So, and then the last part of that is the speaking, supporting people through the speaking engagements, the coaching services we offer to families to help people find a job or to create a business, and the consulting services where we've helped businesses learn how to hire people with different abilities. So there's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. We talk about the unemployment rate, which, certainly a lot of opportunity and improvement there. And you mentioned AI. And one of the things, the beautiful parts about AI is the ability to be able to search a lot of places for information that you need. And I'm in the process of continually gathering information on, across the U.S. in each state, who are the companies, the businesses that were either started by, those either with Down syndrome or connected to Down syndrome, certainly all of the different organizations. There's there are the global and the national chapters that we know very well that we've talked about a little bit, but then there are the certain state chapters, certain, regional, I've connected with the Dallas or the Down Syndrome Guild of Dallas, and being able to find board members. A lot of the board members sometimes are parents, who are doing some amazing things. And so there is a lot of good activity, a lot of good energy that is going on. We mentioned the hotels. I was at a retreat since we met in Mobile. Mignon and I went to a retreat up at Notre Dame, and one of the other retreatants that were there went to college in Raleigh, North Carolina, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, you need to meet 321 Coffee." And
Right.
321 Coffee was kind of birthed out of the university. And now they have multiple locations. They have like 50 employees. So there are some really neat stories. I think if you dig, if you can't find anything, I think that part of that is you're just not looking enough. And we, through this channel, through a lot of the amazing work that you guys are doing, and countless others. It's every day I find something, and we have a long way to go. I know from it's great to be a National Down Syndrome ambassador with John, and there are things at the federal level that needs to happen. There's things at the state level that needs to happen. We're getting some traction, but we still got a long way to go, right?
Yeah.
And I'm using my voice, which I've been on the sidelines. I've kind of shared in Mobile, up until this point. But I'm getting more integrated, and we're flying out to Denver this evening, and happy to be able to get to learn some of the amazing things that Global Down Syndrome Foundation has been doing, research, employment, and the things that they've been doing for quite some time is fantastic. So look forward to connecting more with them too as well. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our guest and as we kind of move towards the end of this episode?
Well, listen, there's a better world that awaits out there. How old is your son now?
10.
Yeah. It's better than it was when he was born.
It is.
It's a better world it's a better world for John than it was 29 years ago. There's still a long way to go, but it keeps getting better. And it's because of people like you and that are speaking up and learning and sharing and doing things. And, people in the audience doing that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reason for hope. And, I'm always thinking you just got to act. You just got to just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Just keep going. And you have advice for people, right?
Yeah, follow your heart, follow your dreams, work hard, so you can do.
Yeah, that's pretty good stuff, right,
Exactly.
buddy?
That's beautiful. Yeah, we talked a little bit about addiction before the show, and it affects. I think it's like cancer. Everybody knows somebody with cancer. Probably everybody has somebody that has been affected by addiction as well, and but we don't talk about it. We kind of internalize it, right? And I think in a way, we were probably doing that mainly because Reed's got 3 older brothers, and we're just trying to go through the roller coaster of life and get them fed and get them to school. But we also don't just want to let everybody else do amazing things like, John and Mark Cronin. It's time we get involved and to help make an impact. And that goes with, addiction as well. It's generally not one of the things that people talk about. There's a lot of shame with that. And boy, the more I've spoke about it, it's amazing how much opportunity has been birthed by just talking about it.
Yes, it's sharing. When in our family, you might say, well, the presenting condition is Down syndrome. No, both my wife and my middle son have endured pretty significant chronic depression that's had a huge impact on them and on our family. Down syndrome, that's easy. Depression, that's hard. But people don't want to talk about it. And in my wife's case, it led her down a path where she made some bad decisions, and she wound up spending 8 months in jail. Now, in the past, she would have hidden that. And we don't take billboards out to talk about that.
Right.
But she now freely admits about that and talks about it, and she's doing very well now.
Amen.
But that's allowed her to connect to a tremendous number of people. When we start talking about this, people open up and say, "Oh, I've suffered from depression. My wife, or my husband, or my child, or my parents," and there's like a relief when they connect with somebody else, because we're so busy with that kind of Facebook curated, everything is perfect life.
Right.
And it turns out that's not the way things go.
No. We all have stuff.
We all have stuff.
Whatever that
We
stuff
all
is.
got something. Behind every life, where you see there's some kind of pain. And I'm not trying to be down. I'm a very positive person, but we just got to recognize that.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And again, just blessed to be able to share this platform with you guys. Blessed to get to know you better and call you guys friends. Not just friends in our Down syndrome community, but sharing all the beautiful things that you guys are doing, and hopefully we can inspire somebody else and somebody to say, "Hey, Dad, I want to start my own company." Because why not, right?
Well, and if they do, have them contact us. We'll be glad to help.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again
Right?
for.
If you want to get a hold of me, I'm the only Mark X Cronin on LinkedIn. So you can get a hold of us at johnandmarkcronin.com or johnscrazysocks.com. And we'll be glad to help. If there's a way we can help you, we'll be glad to help.
Absolutely. Well, John and Mark, thank you again for joining us on Getting Down with Purpose podcast. John and Mark Cronin at John's Crazy Socks. And look forward to seeing you more down the road.